Then we'll move on to the next question. But I will tell you that this reminded me, when I talked to Chad and Melanie, it reminded me of Eran standing at the front of the bus and teaching this over and over throughout the day at every different location. This is what we got in Israel. Isn't it good?
No, not that long.
Well, maybe not that long. All the information was so good and insightful and impactful. So, going to Israel, seeing the sights, and being at Capernaum. I'm sorry, I didn't say it right. Being in there and seeing all those are a real blessing. So, again, if you get a chance, make a chance to go to Israel. It's a real blessing. I would go back tomorrow, Lord willing, and no rockets coming over. So, but I'll turn it back over to the answer. If you would just start off with a little, what's going on in Israel, what's happening, and how do you see it as from the Jewish perspective, and kind of give us that leaning, because we get the U.S. news perspective.
Well, I'm trying how to say everything I want to say in a short. I didn't plan to speak about Israel update. It's just because people are so interested about what's going on in Israel. And it's always amazing me how tiny country in the other side of the world, and everybody knows what's going on in my country. It's crazy. Israel is the size of New Jersey. Okay? And we are tiny spot in an ocean of Muslim and Arabic countries. But everything that happens in Israel has so much influence, so much effect all over the world. And you may think why, and maybe I'll start, every time I start with a different thing. Why what's happened in Israel is so important because, it's have huge applications. I wanted to remember that 31% of this world are Christians, 25% are Muslims, and everything that happens in Israel have applications on the people on this planet. For the Muslims, Muhammad is the last prophet. And according to the Muslims, the Jews are descendants of pigs and monkeys. And the fact that the Jews are back in their land have enormous threat on the Islam, on Muslims. How come, if Muhammad is the real prophet, how come that those Jews that's supposed to be humiliated, how come they are back in the land? It's not why they care about this little piece of land. It's because it's undermined their religion. Okay? And we need to understand that. And, sorry to say it, but it's also a problem for the Christians. I want you to remember that the Christians here in America are unique. You are evangelicals, Protestant Christians, but the majority of the Christian world is anti-Israel and anti-Jews. Okay? The majority of the Christians in the world still believe in the replacement theology. Okay, I hope I'm not surprising you too much. The majority of the Christians in the world believe that God forsaken his people, and the Christians are now the children of Israel. I know the evangelicals in America don't see it like that. You see the coming back of the Jews to their land because God keeps his promises. But most of the Christians in the world don't see it the way you see it. So you will have the South American Christians against Israel. Or if you check the European Christians, the majority of them will not support Israel because it's also a theological issue for them. Now, what's going on in Israel right now? The Holocaust. Okay. Jews been persecuted by the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. The Holocaust is just the last one. And I hope I'm not going to shock you. 90% of the European people before the Second World War went to churches every Sunday. The Nazis had crosses on their necks. The people that put my family in the gas chambers, yes, went to churches every Sunday. The Nazi SS officers, you know, they had a buckle belt, the Nazi SS. You know what was written on this buckle belt? God is with us, Emmanuel. His name was the last thing that so many Jews saw before they've been exterminated. Yeah, by the way, open brackets. So many of my friends, when they come to Israel, how come the Jewish people don't accept Christ? Really? You are surprised? Because when you come to a Jewish person and you tell him about Jesus, he doesn't think about the way you see Jesus. He never read the New Testament, probably. He don't know that Jesus' teaching is about love. When he thinks about Jesus, he thinks about the Crusaders who burned the Jews alive inside their synagogues. Okay, you know the Crusaders massacred the entire population of Jerusalem, and they were singing songs as they did that. With my family, I spent some time in Portugal. In the main square, that's where Jewish mothers were burned alive with their children because they refused to baptize their kids. So when you come to the Jewish people today and tell them about Jesus, they have this in their mind, okay? But when you come to Israel, you open a new page between Jews and Christians. And I'm telling my friends that if you know the secret door to the heart of the Jewish people, yes, don't preach to them about Jesus, be Jesus to them. Love them the way they are. That will melt their heart because they are not used to it. They're always going to suspect that you have a motive, that you want them to be Christians. But if you accept them the way they are, yes, maybe one of those days, their heart will be open, okay? So I want you to know that when you come to Israel, you open a new page between the Christians and the Jews, and the same way I'm representing Israel to you, I'm representing you to my Israeli friends. So this Holocaust is the motivation behind everything. This moving the Israeli foreign affair policy, that's why the Israelis are often accused to be aggressive. That's why when the Iranian Shia country threatened to destroy Israel and wants to get nuclear weapon, we take it seriously. Because we lost half of our people. 9 out of every 10 Jewish kids. So when they say they want to do it, we take it very seriously. And if you want to understand the Israelis today, we need to understand what happened in the Holocaust. So here I said one thing that had to be said. The second thing I want to tell you, that Israel's future is great. I'm not sure if you know, but Israel is getting stronger day by day. Actually, the October 7 attack happened because Israel became so strong. According to very important American research, Israel is number 8 in the world. Yes, with security power. We have baby boom, Jewish baby boom. We're going to multiply our population in 80 years. Israel, now it's 10 million. We're going to be 24 million. 24 million Jews by the end of this century. All the world population, I hope you know, but the world population is shrinking. Not now, but will shrink in the future. It's called demographic winter. People don't bring enough babies. We do. We are the only Western country that's going to multiply itself by 3 times in the future. It's a young country. We have 35% under the age of 19. 35% of the population. You see kids everywhere. My family is the smallest. No, not small. and the economy. People asking me, how Israel is doing without tourism. Yes, tourism is nothing in Israel. It's like 1 or 2%. Israel is based on high-tech industry, second only to the Silicon Valley by investments. The Iranian conflict pushed Israel to invest in high-tech. We are one of the best countries in the world with space technologies, cyber technologies, security technologies, water technologies. Everybody now standing on a line to buy weapons to Israel. We cannot, to protect themselves from the Russians and the Chinese. We can't even supply so much. 55,000 American dollars per year per person, the GDP, more than Germany, more than Italy, more than Spain. Okay? So when our enemies saw it's coming, and the Abraham Accords, 2020, Trump, 4 peace agreement with 4 Arabic countries. So Israel is getting stronger and better. But there is always a but, and I'm going to be very quick about this. This is what we call, one of my teachers, Professor David Pasig, like to say that this is the neurology, how to say it, neurogen, yes? Like mental nerves, never mind. How is it, neurology? Or wait. That's the problem of the Jewish people. I like to call it the curse of the children of Jacob. Because when you read about the children of Jacob, it's starting, go and read again the story of Rebekah and Esau and Isaac and all this dysfunctional family over there. And Jacob tricking his brother and being punished by that. You know what was his punishment? 4 wives. That's a part of the punishment for Jacob. Sorry, it's not me, it's in the Bible. His wife sold him. Mediterranean man to be sold like this, never mind. But his children were fighting each other and sold Joseph to slavery. And later, during the days of the judges, there was a civil war when the tribe of Benjamin was annihilated. And later in the days after King Solomon died, the 2 kingdoms, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, were fighting each other, killing each other, again and again and again. You read about it in the Bible, the house of Ahab and the house of that, and they call their enemies. Horrible. The Maccabees, the Hasmonean, during the Hellenistic Greek era, they were fighting each other so many times. And later, during the Roman, remember the Romans destroying the temple? When the Romans were sieging Jerusalem, the Jews were still fighting their brothers instead of fighting the Romans. And in the last 1900 years, again and again and again, the Jews could not be unified. I tell you another thing. Even in the worst moment in the history of the Jewish people, maybe you learned about the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, when the Nazi SS took the largest, 500,000 Jews, and the Jews stood against the Nazis. They still could not work together. There were 2 fighting groups in the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, the Republicans and the Democrats. The right wing and the left wing. They were still fighting. Can you believe that? So, what happened now, Israel is becoming a nation. And this is a long process. And in this process, usually, there is a murder of a leader, which was a father-like figure. Rings a bell, America? Yes? And what coming next? Civil war. So now the Jews, after the Holocaust, now the generation of the grandparents died, and now the Jews in Israel arguing, almost fighting about the identity of the Jewish state. We want the state to be religious, we want the state to be Republican, we want the state to be progressive, we want the state to be liberal. So the Jews are about to repeat the mistakes of our ancestors. And this is the biggest challenge of Israel today. how to learn from the past and not to fall to the same mistakes. How to live together, to establish a constitution, and to make a detour and not to have a civil war. Yeah, we want to get to the constitution, we want to get to the next stage and to build a country with not falling into the civil war. We're trying to be unified, not like in the past. Everybody still with me? Yeah. Our enemies saw those demonstrations. And guess what? The Russians and the Iranians and the North Koreans want us to fight each other. They want you to fight each other. What's going to make them happy is if Americans will fight Americans this week. That's going to make them happy. And you know what? They spread it. It's not me saying. It's been proved beyond any doubt. They are using social media to turn Americans against Americans and to turn Israelis against Israelis. That's what they do. They want to weaken our democracies. And that's why they use terror. It's a system how to undermine democracies. Because the strongest thing that we have as a democracy is the bond between the government and the citizens. That's why you won the Second World War. If your country is about to fall, you will do everything you can to prevent your country from falling. And they want to break this. Those terrorists kidnapping, raping, yes, and murdering families in the most horrible ways that I'm not going to describe, because they want to break this bond. Now, what Israel is doing today, we have to stand for our life. We lived with a sword on our neck for the last 25 years, and what Israel is doing now is dealing with this terror. There is no difference between October 7 and the 9/11. It's the same people. You know one thing I really need to do? I've been saying it today already. You need to go online and to see the Shia Muslims. Yes? You think ISIS is bad? You need to go online and to see Shia Muslims. Yes? How they're encouraging their people in the streets to kill us. It's crazy. Did you see Lord of the Rings? Again, sir, I don't want to be misunderstood, okay? I'm trying to dehumanize or anything like this, but for me, yes, looks like orcs. I'm serious. You need to see the face of your enemies. It's scary. They're all dressed in black. They're having trance music like that, and they're all punching themselves on the face, on the body, and shouting all together, "Death to Israel, death to America, death to Israel, death to America." I was like, oh my gosh. You don't see those pictures in the news, but if you go online, you will see thousands of them are doing that, getting themselves into Shia trance, beating themselves and shouting, and those people wants to get nuclear weapon right now. It's really scary. And we want to make sure that's not going to happen. And what happened now is, wow, it's very sad. I know you see all those pictures of these dead citizens and dead kids, but we need to remember that that's what they want us to do. They deliberately hide behind civilians. They knew that they're going to lose the war. They want us to look bad because they think that's going to make Israel stop. They think this is how they gain history. They don't care about how many got killed. You know, Vietnamese, how many Vietnamese got killed in the war of Vietnam? Probably 1.5 million. Who won the war? Vietnam won. So the Muslims don't care about how many of their people are being killed. They want us to be destroyed. When they saying from the river to the sea, they actually want to have Israel annihilated. If you think that Palestinians wants to have a peaceful land to live beside Israel, you need to be super naive for that. If they will have a state that's going to be instead of Israel, and their state will look like Afghanistan, their state will look like Lebanon, their state will look like Gaza, Libya, Iraq, yes, Pakistan. They don't want to live peacefully among us. They want to be instead of us. What Israel is doing today, we evacuate people from their villages, and we make it very clear. We expose the terrorists because they were hiding behind the citizens. We move the citizens, and now we can take care of the terrorists. And they build headquarters under hospitals. Yes, again, you sue me if I'm wrong. It's been proved beyond any doubt. Their headquarters are under the public hospitals. Inside any mosque, there are bombs and rockets shooting at my family. My wife's family, they suffer from rocket attacks for 22 years now. They live half an hour drive from the Gaza Strip, Ashkelon. 22 years, rockets shot from there. And those rockets are under mask because they think they want us to look bad by destroying those masks. The people in Lebanon, they rent rooms in their apartments to be rocket launchers. And the Hezbollah pay their rent for this room. So guess what? We don't care if that's a mosque or not. We don't care if this village, it's civilian village. If you have bunkers, and this is a Shia Muslim village with bunkers under this village, we're going to destroy this village. If you have bombs, do you have bombs in your church? Any rockets under your church? If you have rocket launchers and ammunition stored under your mosque will be destroyed. So what I'm trying to tell you, there is a new Israel. And the new Israel is not playing games anymore. And we are allies, and we like to listen to our allies, but we are going to do whatever we need to do to keep our family safe. We're not going to trust the UN. We're not going to trust I don't know who. We need to be sure that that the terrorists are not going to knock on my home. Sorry? Okay. Yes, you're right. Okay, America told Israel, 1981, America told Israel, 1948, 47, America told Israel, don't declare independence. America told Israel, the Muslims going to kill you, massacre you all. Don't declare independence, they told Ben Gurion. And we did. 1981, America told Israel, don't destroy Saddam Hussein nuclear reactor. It's going to cause a big war. Guess what? We did. Later in the Gulf War, America was very happy that Saddam Hussein doesn't have a nuclear weapon. Yes? 2006, America told Israel, don't destroy the nuclear weapon that North Korea built for Syria. You know, the North Koreans, they helping the Muslims to build the nuclear reactor of Syria. America told Israel, don't. Israel did. Yes? Just imagine Syria, yes, you know, this crazy guy that actually used chemical weapon against his own citizens. If he would have the nuclear weapon, you could have done nothing against this guy. What are you going to do now with North Korea? Big problem, eh? And now America told Israel, don't go into Rafah. It's going to be big. Don't move the Jerusalem embassy. We did. That's the way it is. Okay? And sometimes we are too afraid to do things. Okay, one last thing I need to tell you. Friends, the world is changing. The global world, as we know, is changing. People challenging the West. On one side, you have China. China have a plan, yes, to destroy America. and the Russians are with them. And right now, even India seems to be with them. I don't think India will be with them at the end. I think India will go to the West, okay? But you have China, you have Russia. Yes, by the way, there is more evidence that Russian mercenaries helped Hamas on October 7, training them, the Wagner forces, never mind. So you have the Chinese, you have the Russians, you have the Iranians, you have the North Koreans, you have the Syrians, all those good fellows on one side. And on the other side, you have America, and you have the West European countries, and you have Israel. So this is one side, and this is the other side. And we will stay allies no matter who's going to be elected on this week. Okay? Because even if Kamala will win, or if Trump will win again, the only ally of America in the Middle East is Israel. We are the West in this part of the world. We share the same values, we share the same concerns, and America and Israel will stay close no matter what. Okay? That's important to be said. But what I really want to end with, and then maybe a few questions, the worst thing that can happen is if the other side will win. Okay? And I'm not sure if you heard, but did you hear about, how many of you watch Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator sci-fi movie series? Did you watch this? Come on, you can admit it. Schwarzenegger, Terminator. You remember the base story of this sci-fi movie? Yes? I think it was 1980s, the first one, no? 1983 or something like this, the first one. There is a story about AI, computers, that's been used by the powers to activate their weapons. And one day, those robots and this AI computer technology turn those weapons against the people. And you know what's the name of this AI civilian network? Skynet.
Which exists now.
Did you hear about this? All right, thank you. You can support me. So the Chinese, that's super, super crazy. The Chinese made AI camera-based civilian system that monitoring the entire population of China and very close the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, George Orwell 1984 book is nothing. 500 million cameras, Skynet. Each one of you have a grade. Yes? If you misbehave, if you speak, if you do something against your government, your grade will be lowered. Now, yes, now you have a high grade. He is a troublemaker. He have a low grade. If you meet each other in the car, in a diner, if you meet each other and you sit for the same table, your grade will be affected because of him. So next time you see him, you're going to cross to the other side of the street because you don't want Skynet to know that you were sitting together. That's how crazy it is. Now, what do you care about government grade? If you don't have enough grade, you cannot leave the country. You cannot use public transportation. You cannot participate. And you have to go to do public labor to get new points. So this is the craziest, yes, regime you can imagine, using more. They can even recognize your face even if you cover them just by your eyes. So you can try put your hat, you can put, if you just see your eyes, they can recognize you, who you are, biometrically. So this is, again, I'm trying to, I don't want to scare you, but this is how the world will look like if China will win. You see, this is what China offers to this world. And they chose the Skynet not because they thought it's going to be for a good, but that's very sad. But I want to finish with something optimistic. October 7 was actually, can be turned for the good. Sometimes what looks bad may turn to be good, and what looks good can be bad. But October 7 made the Muslim world very clear what's the choices on the table. Do you want to follow China and Russia that don't really care about you? Do you want your country to look like Gaza? Do you want your country to look like Lebanon today? Do you want your country to look like Afghanistan? Do you want your country to look like Iraq or like Syria? You can go with them. But if you want prosperity for your children and for your people, if you want to live good life, you better choose the American side. You better choose the Israeli side. You better choose the West side, because that's the source of blessing. Yes, that's what bring you to prosperity. And the other side have nothing to offer you, just destruction and Islamic fundamentalism. That's not going to lead you for a good path. So the choice was never more clear than today. How long it took me? All right. I think I said almost, okay. One last thing. And then you might want to agree with me, but that's okay. One of the things that we are lacking the most is in Israel. I don't know nothing about America. Diversity among the decision makers. And we believe that the future will have women in charge. The women, I know it's hard to say it, it's just giving you a thought. We need more women perspective in this world. And there is not enough women in Israel around the decision makers. And I think that in the future, we will have more and more women given their, using their understanding, their set of mind, and probably that's going to make a huge impact on our future. So, of course, I'm not into this, but I think this is one of the things going to affect our future, definitely in Israel and hopefully around the world. So here, I said it. I know it's... Yes? Question?
So, can I ask?
Of course.
So I'm always curious.
Of course, I will.
I'm always curious. So, the Patriarch of Jerusalem. So, well, I guess with that church, how do you feel about that church?
What do you mean?
The Holy Scapular, if I'm saying that.
The Holy Sepulchre Church.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. There was a question about the Holy Sepulchre Church, if that's the real place where Jesus was crucified. So when you get to Israel, what I like to do is to divide the sites that you'll visit to A, B, and C. A, absolutely the place. C, cannot be the place. B, it's maybe or could be. It means there is a chance it's the place, but we're not sure. So all sites in Israel, you can ask, is that an A, B, or C? Absolutely, maybe, or cannot. Okay? And the Holy Sepulchre Church, it's probably, it's a B, because nobody really knows where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. So nobody really knows. But the Holy Sepulchre Church have, okay, I'm afraid to be recorded over here. If you twist my arms, there's two places. One of them is the Garden Tomb, which is the Protestant suggestion, and the other one is the Catholic suggestion. If you ask the scholars today, most of them will tell you that the Holy Sepulchre Church have more probability. Okay, so that's what's the short answer. Longer answer when you come to Israel. Holy Sepulchre Church probably have more probability, and it takes some time to explain. Okay. There is a Jesus Time cemetery under the church, first century cemetery under the Holy Sepulchre Church. But some of my pastors, friends, they say, I don't care about what the archaeologists said. I know that this one maybe have more probability, but I don't like the way it looks. They're all fighting each other. It's crowded and kissing and touching and doing and this. I think, and that's legit. I mean, I think the most important thing is what people feel in their hearts. So I want to go to the Garden Tomb because that's a beautiful place and it does look like how we imagine the place to look like. So that's the most important for me. So they go there. Other pastor says, I read all the archaeological books and I'm going to take my groups to the Holy Sepulchre Church. And when I have groups of Moody's Bible Church Institute, you heard about the Moody's? So they have 4 buses and so many professors. So I have one professor, they go to the Garden Tomb, and the other professor, everybody wants to go to the Holy Sepulchre Church, will go with me. And they just split. So half going here and half going there.
So are they friendly with Israelis, or are they supportive of Israelis versus Palestinians?
What, if the Catholic world support?
Talk about that church.
No, the Holy Sepulchre, I think the Holy Sepulchre Church is both, okay, it's Orthodox and Catholic. Are they supporting Israel? Probably not. But there is change. In the Catholic world, there is change to accept the Jews. So we are not to be blamed for the crucifixion of Christ. The Russian church, they're still very, very strong anti-Semite. Yes. Yes. More questions. Catholics are started to change.
Is there a media news source that you would suggest as far as being something that we
Wow, you know, I'm getting this question. Is there any media we can trust? This is...
out of Israel? I follow a person, Amir Safari.
Amir Safari is a great friend of mine. I mean, we are friends. We used to work together. He used to be a tour guide. And we worked on the same company. And now we build a new studio not far from where we live. My friend is building the studio for him. I don't follow Amir so much, but I heard really good things about him. So I really can't express my opinion. But I think your questions about where to get our news, it's like a huge question. It's one of the biggest questions of our generation. There is no simple answer for that. I can tell you that I canceled my newspaper about a few years ago. I even erased their app. I don't like to listen anymore to the traditional media in Israel, and I'm trying to follow people that I have different experts for different subjects. So what I told you, it's probably a combination of about 20 or 30 different people that I'm listening to. Each one of them have his narrow expertise, and I'm trying to build my own picture. I'm trying to follow on the social media people that doesn't owned by any big money, that they don't have any interest, and I'm paying them. So I like to pay for my news, and like I'm telling to my kids, if you're not paying, it means that you are the product. Okay, if you're not, but again, I know it's not the whole answer, it's just partial answer, but it's a big problem today, how to get, and it's getting worse, because how are you going to trust videos in the future? How do you know that somebody really said what they said, and it's not some AI? My kids can do it. They can make me speak saying things that I never said. Yes, but it's a big question. Oh, sorry. One of my things to do when I'm coming back to Israel is to make a good bibliography of all the people that I take from them and what their expertise, so you can follow up on that. That's one of my things to do bibliography for everything. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Well, just you gave the example, that Israel is kind of landlocked. You also stated it's the size of New Jersey and stuff like that. But then on the other hand, you talked about the population growth and what is the plan to manage that growth without, expansion or...
So how... Israel is multiplied by 3 times, yet we are very small. So it's the biggest challenge of Israel today. They need to plan it. like Manhattan, for example. Why Manhattan is so successful? Because it was pre-planned 200 years in advance. So we need to think long term. I hate to say that we're not there yet. We are not using our land properly. We have a lot of private homes being built. We are not doing it enough. That's the biggest challenge of Israel today. Already today, Israel, it's probably 10 times more crowded than America. I mean, you have 40 people per square kilometers. We have 400 people per square kilometer. And it's very crowded place. In the future, will probably be more crowded than Asia today. So it's the biggest challenge of Israel, and I hope that our leaders will be wise and do it good. That's our challenge. You need to build another 2 countries in 80 years. It's
That's kind of the symbol with the occupied area and stuff like that. Doesn't that lead to some of the?
yeah, we don't call it occupied areas.
Well, that's what our.
Yeah, I know. No, we call it Judea and Samaria, and I don't have the time to tell the whole story, but it was never. I mean, Jordan occupied it, and then it was occupied from Jordan because they opened war again. So if you occupied it from somebody that occupied it, is it occupied? But seriously, I mean, but we call it Judea and Samaria, but that's another lecture.
We're going to have to kind of close it down, but we're going to stay there. You have the ability for people to get online and learn from you. Is that correct?
I need to do more of that. I don't know yet what I'm going to do because right now I'm pushing all my Spring 2025 groups to Spring 2026. It means that my next time when I have a job, it will be only October or maybe September 2025. So I need to make a living until 2025. I don't want to change occupation. Many tour guides did. So I need to come up with a new way to make a living. So what I might do, what I did during COVID time, which is to give Bible teachings for churches. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. I might offer it to your church to like classes every week, or it's just going to open for everybody and you can join in. And if you wish to pay to what you learned, you can do that as well. So if you wish to follow me, we're going to stay in touch, and I can't really do it right now because we are traveling, and I have to dedicate time to my kids, and I have to not just teaching, but that's my plan. And if you help me to keep my profession and you want to learn more, so it's going to be. I already got it all. I mean, I did it during the COVID. And I also want to write a book. And so it might be a good opportunity for me to make some sabbatical time and to write my book and to do online teaching. So if you'd like to learn more and to be a part of it, that's what I'm planning to do. Thank you. What do you think about it? So it's going to be an online tour of Israel and things like that.
Well, we want to thank you for coming and spending your time and
Thank you.
teaching us. You obviously have a wealth of information. And in his words, yes? Yes. A wealth of information that you've imparted to us, and we appreciate that. So I just want to close this in prayer. Thank you for coming. And we are going to be in contact. And the more I know more, you'll know more.
Thank you so much.